Howdy, hot shots. It's the Dividend Daddy, your favorite, not a financial advisor with not financial advice. All right, I see a lot of channels out there with a cornucopia of information, a cornucopia like there is on the Fruit of the Loom logo, or at least used to be before they changed it. A cornucopia of information about charting on ULTY and recent highs and recent lows and buying the dip and it's going to rebound from here and we were at this price before and so it can move up from there. Listen, I think there is a possibility that ULTY moves up, or I would have already sold it. I think there's a possibility that they get into a batch of good stocks that have a good run and it could go up. And it could stabilize and level off and still produce us a great income. And the total return can still be in the positive territory. I still believe that that's a possibility. Obviously, I don't know the future, or I would pick the investment that I knew was going to perform the best in the near future, and I'd switch in and out of them based on when the trends for those investments were going to pop. But what I do want to say is I love charts, okay? I'm interested in charts. I'm interested in the way people use charts. I won't say that I've been exactly successful in using them, but I do like to look at the charts when I'm trying to decide where to sell my covered calls and where to sell my cash secured puts. I like to find stocks that are channels, that are in channel, even if it's a long term. If you span out into a long channel, like Disney goes down into 80s to 90s, and then it goes up close to 130s, and sometimes it moves out of there, but it seems to kind of ebb and flow in that range. And so I know, it's getting up close to the top of the range that I've seen it in the last couple of years. I can sell one of my calls, and then if it gets called away, when it goes back down towards the bottom of its range, I can sell a put. Now, is that going to work every time? No, it doesn't work every time. Is that going to work the next time? No, I don't know, but I at least have some sort of a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. But ULTY is a different beast, okay? People are talking about, the chart looks good here. It's in a downtrend. It's in an uptrend. I, for the life of me, can't see how that matters. Now, maybe some of you chart specialists can tell me down below, okay, but I cannot see how that makes a difference. If you're looking at a chart on the S&P 500, if you're looking at a chart on the NASDAQ, their stocks are a basket of stocks that are relatively fixed. I mean, one will move out here or there and a new one will come up and take its place. Okay, fine. If you're looking at an individual stock, that stock is fully representative of the value on that chart. When you've got a product like ULTY where it's being actively traded and they're moving in and out of different investments, that chart is not going to have any consistency when it comes to the underlyings. So how do you chart that? I don't think anybody would go and chart their own portfolio and say, my portfolio is going to run after it hits this point in its downturn because that's what it's done before. Because they know, instinctively, you're the one picking the investments in that portfolio. So if you're picking different investments than you did in the past, the chart is not indicative of where it's going to go in the future. I don't see any edge there. And that's the same type of situation that I see with ULTY. If you have, let's just use round numbers because it's easy. If you have 20 stocks in for 3 months and then you swap out to 20 different stocks, how is the chart from the last 3 months going to dictate what's going to happen in the next 3 months? First, we always have those disclaimers. Past results are not indicative of future results or whatever that disclaimer is, right? So if the chart in the past isn't even indicative of what the actual same investment is going to do in the future, how is a chart of different investments going to indicate what it does in the future? Now, I guess you could say that if you were looking at charts of transportation companies or charts of energy companies, that a new energy company that you're looking at might follow those same trends. But ULTY is not like that. They're just buying high IV stocks and then slapping collars on them and calling it a day. Then, when it doesn't seem to be working out for them, they switch into a new high IV stock. If you're just switching in and out of stocks all the time, how is that going to give you any sort of a record of performance that is relevant to what the future holds? Now, what you could look at is how are the traders performing? If the fund has been doing well because it's got good traders, that might support your decision in purchasing the investment so that you can continue to rely on those traders' abilities. If the traders have been doing poorly, then you might want to sell the investment so that you don't have to participate in those traders' abilities. But it really doesn't have anything to do with the underlyings. So when we're looking at charts and we're going, oh, well, it made it down to 521 or 537, whatever it was before it started back up, that's where it's going to start back up again. To me, that is not relevant, okay? It's a different time period. It's a different time of year. That chart is a very short-term chart. The investment has not been out all that long to be looking at trends and things like that anyway. They changed their strategy before March, so that chart really doesn't matter because now we've got these protective puts that are using a portion of our premium for downside protection. So I can't see any value in the charts. I think that people are used to trading different types of investments, used to looking at the S&P 500, used to looking at the Dow, used to looking at the NASDAQ. And so they think that those skills that they've acquired or things that they think they've learned translate over to ULTY. And I don't think that's the case. Now, on the flip side, you've got people that say that the chart doesn't matter at all. It's just been eroding since the fund began, and they don't think that matters at all. Well, that does matter because it's representative of the strategy. So I don't think that price points on the chart really matter. Okay, individual price points. Like you're not going to say, oh, well, it's going to rebound here. I don't think it's just my opinion. If you're going to make the bet, you got to do the vet. I don't think that is going to help you in any way or give you any edge. You can look at how the investment has performed and seen the NAV erosion. Now, as I say all the time, you have to look at the total return because a lot of people have had a positive total return, and that positive total return has beaten a lot of other investments. They have not obviously realized all the gains from the distributions because some of those have been part of the capital that's being returned. Some of them have been essentially converting capital to premium via losses on the stocks and gains on the premium, which is not exactly return of capital, but it kind of winds up in the same spot. So people have made money with ULTY, and I hope to be one of those people soon. I'm not right now, I'll tell you that much. But as far as charting it and looking at the charts and thinking, oh, this is a good low point to get into, I have learned in the last couple months that I can buy the dip and it'll keep on dipping. Okay, I've done that before. I mean, I learned that with this particular investment in the last couple months. But it being low is representative of the NAV of the underlyings that it is holding. It being low does not mean that it is oversold. It being high does not mean that it is overbought. It can trade in discount or premium to the NAV by a little tiny bit, so you might look at that spread and be able to pick up a penny or two here or there. But overall, we can't set trend lines. We can't put it into channels and see that it's at the top of its channel or it's at the bottom of its channel. We can't look at its RSI and see if it's overbought or oversold unless you've got, charting software that is going to somehow translate all the underlyings. If you really want to see what you think it'll do and you want to use charts to do it, I think your best bet would be to go to the YieldMax website, download the holdings, and then look at the charts on those individual stocks. If every single one of those is overbought, well, maybe they're in for a little bit of a downturn and it wouldn't be a good idea to buy it at that point. If every one of them is oversold, maybe it's going to have a little bit of a run up and then you're going to be able to make money that way. But you need to look through ULTY if you want to look at the charts, and that's what I think about it. But I'd like to know your opinions down below. All right, D-Gens, I'll talk to you later.